Hello, Jamie from Inky&Scrappy back with our Let's Start Stamping series, episode, I believe, 23. So I kind of pulled out a few different things, kind of working through, I thought I'd work through my thought process with you a little bit. So, you know, I kind of pulled out, I had some stamp sets kind of set out that I thought maybe I wanted to use. I pulled out some Welcome Autumn paper packs. So this is kind of where I start. I usually start with either images or I start with a color palette, or in this case a paper pack, which ends up being my color palette. It's kind of a catch, you know, it's kind of a dual purpose, right? Because this will help with building the card with the paper, pattern paper, but also it helps me to figure out coloring and those types of things. So a lot of times I will pull out this first or second if I know what my images are going to be. So the image I had started with was the Trinity Stamp Bright Side one. I thought about doing this one. I love the sunflowers. I love sunflowers, so of course fall sunflowers. But then I just maybe got my You Crow Girl in the mail, and so she might happen to come out today instead. The other one that works with this one is the Happy Harvest, which is, you know, size-wise going to be the same. This one definitely has those sunflowers on. So let's look at our option with those two stamp sets, because I'm probably going to go with the Crow Girl, but you know, when I look at layouts, you can definitely do sunflowers in all four of those. You won't have to do anything else, or you do pumpkins in those, that sort of thing. You know, build it from there. This one you could definitely bring in the wagon with the pumpkins, would work really well. This one from last week, again, size wise would work probably pretty good with this one. I would just size this piece to fit that one and then build, you know, around from there, kind of like we did last week. But I kind of want to go with maybe this one, that one. No, that's not where I was going. I was going this way. So I was thinking this one today, and instead of doing the sentiment in the background, I'll probably do some pattern paper. Do some pattern paper on this one. I don't think I'm going to do a circle on this one. I think I'm just going to cut out my image and kind of make a little mini scene on that piece today. Now I could do any one of the 3 or 4, I guess I have 4 focal images, but you know, either the scarecrow, the little gnome, or the wagon, or the other scarecrow sort of thing. You could definitely do any of those on there, and just size that one down as you're, you know, when you stamp it, figure out your size on it and kind of adjust from there. So it can be wider, it can be narrower, it's not a big deal. You could definitely probably get maybe both of those. I don't know if you'll get both of them on, you get both of them on a card front, but it would kind of look silly to do the flag in part. So those are some options. I'll probably go with this design today. So I think I have them all photoed. The other one would work, this one, just turning it the other way. As you know, any of those would work kind of sort of the same way. So let's pick out, I think we're going to do the little girl. I think. We'll see. Okay, so let's pick out some pattern papers with that layout in mind. So I probably would go with, for sure, one that's a little bit more busy maybe. This one would be really cute to do with that pumpkin wagon, but that'd be really cute to do with the little crow girl too. I like this one. I think it's going to be busy, but I like the pattern for the girl. And let's see, let's go with a solider, more solider. Something that's like tone on tone would be good behind that if you're looking to do something behind it. Of course, I have a hard time, you know, sacrificing what's on the other side for a tone on tone. So a lot of times I just go with the red, but we'll go with, or go with regular paper. So I think I'll do this one. So this one for my base, this one is going to go over the top. And then for my actual drop down, do I want to do pattern on that one, or are we going to do a mini scene? We could do a mini scene on that one. Let's do a mini scene today. Okay, so I have these ones done. I'm going to cut these right away so I get that out of the way. So this one is going to get cut down to 4 1/4. We'll make it a full panel A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. If you prefer to do larger cards, 5 by 7s, just size that up and you'll be just fine. The issue with 5 by 7s is your 6 by 6 paper pack doesn't really work with them. I want a fairly larger border, not like a huge border, but I want a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch. So I think I'm going to go with, ooh, that's not a lot. So let's go 4, 3 1/2. So for 4 1/4, I guess we could go with a 1/2 inch less. So a 1/4 inch border all the way around. So I'm going to go 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So we can layer those up. Now, if you have die cuts and you want to save this, you know, the inside, you could definitely go with something that's a little bit smaller than this one, and then you can layer that on top because nobody's going to see that it has a hole in the middle. Circles, ovals, those types of things, if you have dies, works well if you are trying to conserve some paper. Alright, so let's grab a piece of Ohuhu paper. No, Ohuhu? No, I want some Bristol Smooth. So I'm going to bring in a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm thinking this one's probably going to be long enough. Now, here you have a couple of options. If you have dies to do a die cut, go ahead and use your die for it. It's, you know, going to work well for you. If you don't have a die, that's fine. I'm probably not going to use the die today just because I can size it down after I'm done with the coloring and stuff. But, you know, if you're going to do the die, you can definitely do a die cut. I think I have some bigger flag ones somewhere as well. But, you know, seeing how she fits on there, if you're going to use a die, I will probably end up not using a die. But I am going to kind of cut it down just because my die isn't the right size for what I want. So she's about, you have a ruler. How about we use it, girl? Okay, so she's what? She would fit pretty good on a 2 1/2 inch. So I think I'm going to go with a 2 1/2 inch wide strip here. I'll probably end up cutting it at 3. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Wait, this is not cut straight to start with. Well, let's go this way. Straighten it up. Okay. So I'm going to go with 3 inches to start with here. And then I can adjust from there. I don't know which side is, it still looks crooked to me. Hence why I use die cuts. Okay. We're going to bring in, I'm going to pull that out. I think we're good with that one. So I'm going to pull in my stamp tool positioner. And just kind of put that one on there. So we should be good to roll. New stamps, they're always fun. Busting them out and coloring them for the first time. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of center her on here. This way I can come in later and kind of chop down to what I want for the actual size. Keep in mind that I plan on doing a flag on the bottom or a point on the bottom. So I'm going to, really I could cut her out. Should I do it flat or should I do a cutout? Oh, decisions. If I do her on a cutout, I can pop it up and give it a second layer. I could definitely do a flat one, which would mean I would need to stamp this twice. Once on this, once on masking paper, and then color and cover it, and then do the background. So, I don't know. Which one do I want to do? You know, I can do both of them, cut out some footage, and I'll show you the looks on both of them. I think we'll do it that way. So you can do it both ways. and then decide which one you like better. Or you can pick which one you like better before, you know. I'm not going to color them both on camera. I will color one on camera, the other one I will color off camera and show you the end result. But we'll use similar papers and design. Everything else will be the same. I'll show you the difference between. Ooh, look at that nice juicy pad. Oh, only took one. One and done. That's how I know that I should have probably filled that one a long time ago. Alright, so this one. You get to watch all the stamping because I'm not cutting that out. Okay. Oops. I did not press. Okay. There's the one that I'm going to color off camera and cut out with the Brother Scan and Cut. And then for this one, I need to bring in, I like to use Avery L removable adhesive sheets. They're just cheap. At least, well, I think it's like 20 bucks for a pack of 20 or 30 of them. That is not a big enough sheet. And they work well for, they have that masking, or they have the back on it. I don't know. I haven't found a masking paper that I like more than this one. It doesn't leave a residue behind, which is kind of nice. I'm going to have to cut this one out, so. And when I say I'm going to have to cut this one out, I really mean I'm going to run it to the Brother Scan and Cut because I am not going to cut it out. Okay. So we have our mask and we have our image stamped. Now I can come in here and start coloring. Let me figure out my colors. I'll be right back. Okay, so I pulled my markers from my 60 set of Ohuhus, and I think I pulled one brown in from the Skin Tone add-on pack from the Oahu line. I will say I did pull in a different couple of colors for my other one, because I already did it. I liked the color it went with the pattern paper. So, alright, let's start coloring. I can't use that one because those were the other ones. So, I'm going to go with Green Gray 030 and Turquoise Blue, which is G191. These don't, you wouldn't think they'll work, but I think they'll work for what I want them to do. The issue with this one is we're actually going to mix the colors on my image, and so it's not my normal coloring, but I'm trying to make a color that I want. So I'm going to do this one as the undertone. So I'm going to color the whole image, or the whole part of the image that I want this color. And keep in mind though, you know, the Bristol Smooth isn't going to blend it as nice as, say, the Express It cardstock will, but I think we'll still be able to get an okay blend with this one. So I just want that as my base layer. I'm not really paying attention to, say, make sure that it's all even and well distributed, because I'm going to probably be adding a lot more ink to this one than I normally do. So now I'm just coming in with a second layer over the areas that I want darker. And this is going to be a little bit more, shall I say, laid down a little more carefully than that first layer was. That first layer was kind of just to wet the cardstock, so I can get these to mix a little bit better. Keep in mind that they are translucent, so they will, you know, you'll see this color through the one we're going to put on top. So this, just by doing that outside, it kind of gives it a roundish shape. It doesn't look so flat. Now I'm coming in with that turquoise blue color, and I'm going to go over the whole thing here. So I've already kind of laid in my shadow there. I don't need to worry about So this gives me kind of a, I don't know, I don't want to say smoky greenish blue, but it kind of is like the color that I was looking for. It's a little bit darker than the one that I used on the other to match my paper pack, but I like the end result on that one. And so you see you get a totally different color mix. Let's see if I can have a scratch piece of paper here somewhere. Here we go. So on my scratch piece of paper here, so this is the green gray, definitely gray, and that's that turquoise blue color. So you see the color that you get when you mix them is that one. So if you know, if you don't have the color that you want, you kind of think you can get there, you know, just test them out. Do it on a scratch piece of paper and see if it's going to work how you think it's going to work, or, you know, try it out. But so I ended up using green gray 030 and G191, which is the turquoise blue for that. Let's come in with the red. So I'm using R865 Geranium and R586 Coral Red. And I'm going to do this one on the belt. And the shirt. So I kind of like to make it rounded. You know, everybody has their own coloring style. This is mine. Do what you want to do, or do what you're comfortable with. And then I'm going to hit the little ties in our hair right away. And then I'm coming in with that lighter red. I'm going to lay that down. I usually do this one in layers. And then you don't have to go all the way to the outside, but make sure that you're covering that first layer a little bit so it'll get a fairly good blend in there. So usually I do right along that line or right over that line, and then come in with a second layer over my first layer, and then of course in that middle, so that middle is the lightest tone. And it kind of gives you that appearance of roundness. I think we're good there. Do I want to do the band on her cap? I'm going to wait with that one. So for this one, let's see. For my my straw, because of course it's a scarecrow, so of course they're filled with straw. I'm going to go with primary yellow, which is Y396, and Canaria yellow, which is Y397. The primary yellow, I do believe, comes from that skin tone pack. And I'm just going with the darker of the two shades, which is the primary yellow, along wherever it's closest to the clothing, because it's going to be in shadow, I feel. And then I'm going to come in with that canary yellow. You wouldn't have to do two tones. You could definitely just do a second layer of this one over that area, and you would get a similar look. And it's a very small image, so it's not like, or very small area, so it's not a huge deal. I'm going to keep the primary yellow off to the side because I want to use that for my straw hat a little bit. I'm going to bring in Hazelnuts, which is E288, and this is from that skin tone pack. I'm doing my first layer and then my second layer with that one. And then I think for her, you know, because it's supposed to be, technically should be a gunny sack, right? Or a burlap sack is probably what her face was made out of. At least in my, you know, in my knowledge of building a scarecrow, you're supposed to use stuff that you would find on the farm, right? Yeah. So, and then I'm going to bring in brown gray for my lighter tone on this one. I don't know why they call it brown gray, but it's E280. And I'm just going to go over the whole area on this one. you kind of lose that detail that I added in there with that one, so you can go back and add it if you want. You don't have to though. And let's see, did I do, I'm trying to think which colors I went with. I think I did hazelnuts and that primary yellow for my straw hat. I don't know if it's a straw hat per se. I guess it could have gone with the straw. The yellow colors, I guess, would have worked well there too. So, laying in that brown as my undertone or my darker shade there. I just didn't have a yellow that I felt was going to work, and I like to use less markers as opposed to more, at least color-wise, because then you stay, you know, with a few colors and not a whole bunch. I did bring in the orange for my hair. So I'm using a French Vermilion and orange. So R892 is my darker tone, and YR, sorry, did I say R? I meant YR. YR792 orange for my lighter tone here. And I'm just going to kind of come in and do the darker along the hat line by the little hair ties. Then I'm going to do my band orange. So I'm going to kind of do it the same way I did the red band down below. And then coming in with that lighter tone. I just wanted to add some orange in because I have orange in my background pattern paper, and so it's kind of my undertone color, or the base one, so I wanted to bring that orange into play a little bit here. And then of course I decided it needed some dot detail, so I'm going to come in with some geranium red along the outside here because it's darker, and then I'm going to bring in that lighter red towards the center. You would not have to do this at all. I just thought it would be fun to add a little bit of pattern to it. You could also add pattern to your dress, your shirt. You could do some hash lines, those types of things. And then for the buttons on here, I'm just going to bring in that gray. I might have picked a different gray, you know, if I had thought about it, but, and then I'm going to bring in that coral red for her little nose. And then let's see, I don't do the jelly roll stuff a lot, at least not on camera. It's, you know, it is what it is. Usually I don't usually add a whole lot of highlight stuff. It's just, I don't know, I'm not great at it, and so I don't like to do it. But I want to kind of highlight that it's a straw hat here, so I'm just going to add a few little hash marks in there to kind of give you some detail. The same with her face. I think I'm going to bring in a little bit here to just kind of show that texture of the burlap sack. Kind of bring it in as her cheeks, huh? And then you could definitely add some stripes if you want to do some plaid. I like the Jelly Roll. 10 is probably my favorite one. It's a little bit thicker, wider, it works well. The thing with it is, if you don't use it frequently, it will lose, you know, that mobility on the ball. It kind of gets stuck. So sometimes you have to warm it up on a piece of scratch paper. I tend to use mine enough that it's okay. I'm going to copy the one plaid that's in the paper pack, I think. This one would be a fun one to paper piece with some smaller patterns. Especially her dress part would be kind of fun to paper piece in. But so there's my little image. You could definitely add some dots to the dress if you wanted. All of those things. I think we're good. Time, girl, time. Okay. So those were my colors that I used for the girl on this one. And then I do have this one already colored. So for my greenish tone, and I picked this one, was kind of the one I was going for to match this tone here. So I used the meadow green, which is G9 out of the Oahu, no, the Honolulu set, and then the Helsinki, I think it's Helsinki green, which is G693 out of my big set. You won't have to use those. I'm trying to think. Porcelain blue, which is G177, would probably work fairly well. I know I have some maybe light holly green, green shadow, and or G796 in, I can't read that word, Mignolet, I don't know. Would probably be similar to that shadow green or meadow green. The meadow green, I can't find it the exact match in both of the lines. So that's kind of one of those that's just in the one line. But that's that darker tone in here that I like. So there are both of them. So now this one is the one that we're going to do on camera. So I'm going to come in and add. So I stamped it, cut it out with the Brother Scan and Cut on the line. It doesn't cut it perfect, but it cuts it close. But you can definitely do it this way. Or you can do it the other way, which is cut out the image once and be done, right? So this one just kind of puts that cover over the top. And now we can do a little bit of ink blending. I think we're going to go with brown and some, I don't know, blue-green-ish for the sky maybe. I want to kind of match, this is the one for my other one, but I kind of want to go in with that kind of a green, which is kind of, let's see, Salvaged Patina color maybe. Maybe we'll do some Salvaged Patina sky color and brown. I'm going to bring in Gathered Twig maybe. I would do Gathered Twig or tea dye. Tea dye is going to be a lot lighter. I think I'm going to do Gathered Twig. Okay, and you can do this in regular distress ink. You don't have to have the oxides. They're just like right in front of me, so that's why they ended up on my table. Okay, I need to bring in some of this. Okay, so this is why I like, so this is just that Avery L removable label sheet, and I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna do a soft till here. I'm just gonna cut it. If you have stencils, go ahead and use the stencils for your flooring. I should really do my sky. No, I should really do the other part of this one, right? I cut it wrong. I should have cut it the other way. I should have had a bigger sheet, but I'll make it work. Maybe. Okay. This one I probably wanted it higher. I can just take a sticky and I'll make it work. So this one I'm going to come here to do, oops, I'm going to have to go over so it actually fits on the piece. Just going to go and bring in my hill here, kind of going over the tip of it so it kind of looks like it's in the dirt, or it's got a little, you could even go further up if you wanted. I need a post-it note. So because I was, you know, not thinking when I cut my mask, I'm just going to go like this to block off the top half here so I don't get, I don't want to get ink on the top part, okay, when it comes in to that Gathered Twig or that brown tone. You could do, I guess you could do a green tone. I just thought the brown worked well with my pattern paper. And so I'm just going to come in with that brown here, add that in, hit the top part a second time just to make it a little bit darker. We're going to peel to reveal, right? So I'm just going to pull this one off here, and then I'm going to cheat, bring this one in here. to do multiples sometimes. It's kind of fun. I definitely cheated with this one because I used a die cut for my little flag piece here. Or my fishtail banner. So I'm going to pull that off and this one off. Clean up my work surface a little bit here. So for that one, I brought in, for the second card, I did bring in the Framelits by Sizzix. I'm guessing they still make these because it's a, you know, it's a flag die set. But finding them, you know, you can find those kind of A2 size, or the flag. That one's got like some really big ones in it, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so now I'm gonna come in with my mask that I made for the bottom part. So by doing it this way, you don't get, then just trying to line that up. It looks like it's supposed to be there. That's funny that it doesn't line up quite right. I must not be quite right. Okay, well, no comment. No peanut gallery in there, all right? So do I want to do clouds? Let's do some clouds on this one. Maybe. So clouds, if you have a cloudy stencil, that works well. If you don't have a cloudy stencil, which I'm not finding mine right now. Oh, Jenny Marie. Okay. It's probably right next to me. I just can't see it. I can't see the forest for the trees. I want to go the other way. Okay. I still am doing it the wrong way. Okay. So I'm just going to make some bumps here. Forward. Wow, that was like rough. Smooth out the edges a little bit. Okay, so I have some clouds. We'll call them clouds. It's all good. So I'm just going to come in with my ink. I'm going to start, sometimes I start at the top, sometimes I start at the bottom. Let's start at the top today. And then flipping or moving so you kind of get some variation there. And this a lot of times works better with dye ink. You get that layer on layer effect where with the oxides it kind of sits on top if you go too far up, which I definitely did there. Okay, so there. My clouds don't look very good today. I should have made my bumps similar in size. I did not make my bumps similar in size. And then for that last layer, just kind of come in up off the top here, just to kind of bring it in. And my brown isn't dry yet, so it picked up a little bit. It just looks a little greener down there. It'll be fine. And then of course, that reveal. Well, do I want to do, let's do some splatter. I'm here. Let's get it done. All right. So I'm going to come in with my little long brush here, and I'm just going to do a couple of little drops. And this is just that Winsor & Newton watercolor, iridescent watercolor medium, watered down extensively. So I maybe have this much of the iridescent watercolor medium in there. The rest is water. This way it's just faster and easier. That's just a travel size little container that you can pick up like Walmart and those areas. You know, all the fun things. All right. So if this one's splattered, I will finish my other one and be right back. Okay, I found it. It was like under the pattern paper that was right next to me. I told you it was here. The thing with a stencil is it has a little bit more of a lip to it. So if you're using a heavier thickness paper when you do your pattern or your stencil cutout, you're going to get a little bit of a darker line right along the cloud line there. So keep that in mind. With, you know, the little post-it note, there's not as big of a lip, so I don't feel it catches as much. Do I need to re-ink? Maybe. The other thing when you're doing that is kind of tap it off on your mat a little bit. It'll take the darkest ink or the heaviest ink off already, and then you can kind of come in and you can dip into that if you feel you need a little bit more, but it'll also give you a little bit more tone variation or a little bit more. You can go over the whole thing again if you really want, just to soften it a little bit. I was gonna say I didn't put my mask on the bottom here. There we go. Peel to reveal. Do I want to do... I'll do a little bit of splatter. I like splatter. You get to watch extra splatter today. I'm just tapping it, I don't know, not too hard, well, hard enough. It depends on how much splatter and spatter you want. You know, the less you have on your brush, the softer it's going to get, or the finer it's going to get. The more liquid feel you have to your brush, it's going to get, you know, a bigger amount of splatterings or spatter on it. Alrighty. So we have this one. It's not all the way dry yet, but we're going to peel to reveal, right? This is the best part of doing one layer anythings, okay? It's my favorite part, at least, and I'm not worried about. I didn't wait for my spatter to dry or splatter to dry, so a lot of times it'll wreck my stencil. But a lot of times you can peel it carefully and reuse your stencil more than once. So it's a flat layer, so it's just a straight flat card. So let's get down to our card base. So I have this one or this one. So I'm going to just start by gluing this down. That would be cute too. Okay. And then for this one, because we're going to come in and we're going to size this one down a little bit. Remember, I cut it bigger than I wanted it for a reason, right? It's not dry though, so let me hit it with, well, let me let it dry a little bit. That's just a Conair, kind of like a, I think it's like a curl brush, or I don't know, it's like a little blow dryer. It works well. So this one I want to cut down to about, let's go about 2.5. So figuring my half is going to be about there, and that doesn't have to be exact. We're not doing, whoops. I was trying not to get my spatter everywhere. So 2.5 is here. I think we're okay. Are we centered? We're pretty close to centered, I think. Maybe, possibly. And now to figure out my height on this one. So how much do I want to cut off from the top, from the bottom? We're going to come up here, but I don't think I want it that tall. So I like the height on this one. Her head is below this line, which is kind of what I want. So this one, I don't want it to be, so I'm probably going to cut a 1/2 inch towards the bottom here. Three. That's where our height is on that one. So let's go 3.5 is kind of drastic. Let's go 3 3/4. We can always come back and cut a little bit more off of the bottom. I think that'll be all right because that's going to come up anyways. I think we're good. All right. So what did I say? We did it at 3 or 2. It's just under 2.5 wide, which if I'd have made it 2.5 wide, this part would be a little bit easier. But I'm just going to kind of go like this. So I'm going to touch this one to this one and kind of make a little crease in the middle there. You don't have to do it this way. This is just how I like to do it when I have to do this kind of a cut. I like using long scissors as well. So at this point you have to decide how big of a flag you want. This one is a lot taller, but I'm gonna change the layout on that one. So I'll show you. Okay, so this one, you see that I cut that slit up. So I decided probably a little over a 1/2 inch up. And now I'm just gonna go from this corner, and I want my scissors to go to touch the top of that flag area. And so I'm gonna get slow as I get up here because I don't want to overcut. And then I'm gonna do the same from the other side here. To my center. So I overcut a little bit, but you can't really tell. But as long as your points meet in that spot, you should be pretty close. I think we're good there. Now you can add some distress if you want to add some distress. This one I'm just gonna do like this. We're gonna come in and add this one onto the card base here. You could definitely pop this up with some foam squares if you so choose. Remember, mailing it flat is a lot easier than mailing it with dimension. I like dimension. I pay for it in stamps. Yeah. Every time I go, mail something, I weigh it. Yep, it's a 2-ouncer. Why is it a 2-ouncer? Because Jamie likes layers. Or it's really thick and I have to pay the extra for the non-machinable charge. Yeah, that happens too. Or I have to do both, which is really, it gets expensive, man. Okay, so I have that one on there. I like how it is. I think we're good. I might do a sentiment off to the side. Let me think on that one. Well, we put the other one together. So this one, I cut my piece of paper. Where did I set my piece of paper? So with this one, I decided to do it vertical instead of horizontal. I also think it would be fun to kind of pull in some lawn trimmings or baker's twine or some hemp cord, jute twine. All of those things I think would be really cute with this one. At this point, if I'm gonna do it, I want to do, at least for where I'm putting it on this one, I want to wrap it around before I add this onto my panel. So I'm just going to kind of, and this is from that same paper pack if you were wondering. Let's do 3 layers around, but I'm going to need this one to be a little bit longer. Okay, I think we're good there. Alrighty, well, maybe a little bit longer, maybe not. Okay, and I'm going to tie this one over here. Do I want to do a bow? This is a good question. I suck at bows, but it's hemp twine, so it's not a big deal. I'm going to use my reverse tweezers just to kind of hold that for me. It makes it a little bit easier. You know, that third hand really does tend to help a lot. So once I'm happy with it, I'm going to remove that out and then just tighten it, adjust from there. Can you see the bow? Not really, but that's okay. Well, as I keep making it bigger, and then I'm just going to trim off my end here, and I can play with that a little bit more later. So for this one, you're either going to want to use, I would use double-sided adhesive like a score style tape or a little bit of foam tape, which I think I'll probably end up doing some foam tape here. Let's do, just because it's got that, you know, especially if your string or your ribbon would work as well, is a little bit bulkier. This stuff is fairly, the jute twine is really thin, and most of them you can get at like Walmart carries them. I'm trying to think. Walmart, your craft store obviously, and maybe the Dollar Tree. You can probably find them at the Dollar Tree. You know, some form of it. I try to go with the thinner stuff as opposed to the thicker stuff, like the jute twine, like the really thick stuff. It just adds a lot of bulk to your card. Pull these off. I've gotten a lot of twofers lately. I don't know why I've been in a multiple card mood, which is probably good because Christmas is coming, and we all know that Christmas cards tends to be a lot. I'm not great at sending them out, so I need to get better at sending Halloween cards out. I mean, I make a lot more fall and Halloween cards as opposed to the other. So I have this one here. I'm going to come in and put this one right here. And this is why I was good with it being a little bit taller. Now I should probably wiggle this one over a little bit more. You could definitely add distress to this one if you really wanted to. I didn't, but let's go in with the brown. And I'm just gonna hit my edges here with it a little bit. I'm not re-inking this, I'm just using what was on my brush. Should have I done this before I added it to my orange panel? Yes. But you know, it was in my head and then I forgot when I got to the point to do it. So, is my bow going to be too wide? Probably. Well, we're hoping for the best here. It probably would have worked better on the other one. I'm not going to lie. Okay, and this one, I want to bring this one down here. I'm not going to put it all the way up to the top because my panel's already kind of popped up. I could definitely go with a second layer of foam here. I would definitely go with a thinner layer of foam though if I was going to do it. I would have found one that's, you can get some that's like 1 millimeter thick, and so it's a fairly light one. Do I want to add, before I add this, I'm going to come in and just kind of distress that edge a little bit on this one so it kind of matches my underpiece. I don't need to worry about the bottom part because it's already burnt. Alright. So I'm just going to wiggle this in here. And then we have our little lady. And this is where I say, you know, this is where you get both options. It was definitely easier to do this one on the background, but you know, you have to cut your image, but I guess you have to cut it for the other one too. You could definitely go with markers and do it that way. But this way I can kind of play with where I want her. Ultimately about the same as the other one, right? I could definitely pop her up as well. I already popped that up. Let's grab, do I want to pop her up? Not really, but I will. Okay, I really do want to pop her up. I lied. But where is my little skinny? Jamie can't find anything today because she's been in the tractor all week. I'm supposed to be in the tractor today, probably. This one's thinner. This one would have worked really well for the back as well. It's probably about the same thickness as that one. I'm going to cut a thin strip for that and then a thicker strip for that. These little guys would have worked really well too because they're pretty thin. Alright, head. Maybe. Head. Head. shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. Oh, no? Okay. I'll quit singing for you. I can't eyeball anything today. Okay. There we go. Good gravy. Okay. Roop. 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 Good job. Alright. So here I'm going to bring in this one. And you could have definitely done a little ribbon around her waist. That would have been cute too. All the ideas after I'm done. It's usually how it works. I think I'm good with that there. Sentiment on this one I'll probably add to the bottom, and sentiment on this one. Let me see what our sentiment options are. You crow girl probably, right? I'll be back. Okay, so I think I'm just going to come in with the you crow girl. I mean, I love watching our friendship grow. It'd probably look better on that one because it's longer. Well, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to go with you crow girl. I'm just going to butt them up and line them up on my block here. Maybe. And then I'm going to use, I think, gathered twig for this one. We'll see how it looks. I can always restamp it in black if I don't think it's dark enough. It might not be dark enough on. It might be okay. Let's go in with the black and see if I like that one better. So I'm going to bring in my VersaFine black. I'm going to clean off my stamp first so I don't get the brown on my black. And the black is definitely easier to read, huh? Okay, let's do, I'm going to want a longer one, I think, for that one, so I'm going to put it over here. Now, I actually got those fairly straight, so here's hoping I can bring in my cutter and make it work. Okay, so for this one, let's start with this one. So I like to use this top piece here as kind of, or my guide piece is kind of, I butt my letters up to the top of that, and it gives it a nice border on it. And then I'm going to do the same this way. And that way, if my stamping isn't perfect, like, you know, I can usually get it semi-okay. Let's see. That will give me 1 inch, and that'll give me about 1 inch. So if I go this way, this is about 1 inch and 1 inch on each side here, if I choose to go that route. I could have probably gone just, or, I kind of like it down there though. Bring it in from the side. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, and then this one. That same way. I'm actually going to do this one in little pieces, I think. You definitely do that part with your scissors. Where's my U? There we go. Alright, so for this one, I think I'm going to pop these up just a little bit. Should I maybe figured out placement before I place them? Probably. So there's that one. I'm going to come in with, this is just it's called a glaze. It's a black glaze pen. I usually like to make sure, I use mine frequently, but if I haven't used it in a while, I like to make sure that it's working well before I put it to paper. So I like to do the eyes on them just because it like pops them just a little bit. So it might be cute with like some little mini shaker, like some little mini eyes. I'll do this one since I have it out. It's one of those details you don't have to do, but it kind of looks pretty. And then I need to come in with my brown on this one. Because I did it on the rest of it, I need to, you know, bring it in here as well. So just kind of doing that distress around the edge. It's an extra step. It just, you know, you get two different looks. I think they look good either way. Now this one, do I want to do here? Or I could do here and cut it down, which I kind of like it overhanging that one. All good options. Let's go here. And you could definitely flag the edge if you want. I think I'm just going to go straight though. Well, as straight as I can cut it with the scissors. Okay, and then this one I thought about popping it up, which would be kind of cute, but I think I'm just going to go flat. I could have used my other one, it would have been fine. Options. I like options. And you can embellish if you want to do a little bit of embellishment. But there are my card fronts. For the inside, I'll probably do, you know, I love watching our friendship grow, or just a, you know, happy fall y'all or something. Something along those lines. The other thing you can do for sentiments is, you know, keep calm and get your pumpkin on. There's a lot of times they have word strips in there. I will cut them out and I will use those as my sentiment on a card as well. So there's two options for you. The same card, different, a little bit different layout. You know, it's the same card, same similar layout on them. You know, one's distressed, one is not distressed. One was flat, one is cut out and popped up. So you kind of get the idea that, you know, you can take one sketch and kind of get it to go. And I did this one that had the layers just because it kind of reminded me of that. I could have cut it at an angle and done it that way, but I liked it kind of the straight layers. But I like the colors on this one. I think it turned out okay. Let me know in the comments which one you like the best, either the masking flat layer technique or if you liked that cut out and popped up one. That one's definitely easier to do, how shall I say, in layering it and not making sure your mask is quite perfect. My mask wasn't perfect. I have some white stuff on there. And nobody's really gonna know, you know, for the most part. And if you have the die for it, take the die and put that over, do that mask over the top of it, and you'll have that white outline like this one has, but it'll be flat. So definitely some options. Neither of them are very popped up too much. As long as they're less than 1/4 inch thick, of course I have to add them to card base yet, but as long as they're thin enough, they'll mail okay. They're probably, this one will probably end up being it might be close. I always weigh my cards at home. I have a scale, so I weigh them. But if you have to take them to the post office, I don't like to leave house, so you know. But anyways, I'm supposed to be in a tractor chopping corn stalks. So anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Keep getting inky. You know, if you have card ideas, sets that you have that you would like me to do something with, I'm always open to suggestions. When it comes to lawn fawn, I have a lot, so I probably have that set. I always love to get inspiration from you guys. Let me know what you want to see and I can hopefully show you it. If there's a technique you want to know how to do, let me know down below as well. Anyways, I'm done. I hope you guys have a great one. Hopefully I get to edit on this one and up by Saturday. So hopefully you're with me on Saturday. All right, have a great one. Bye.